Okay, right, so question 8. We've got some fractions, two fractions questions. Part A is multiplying two fractions together, and part B is subtracting two fractions. Take a few minutes, have a go at those. Okay, right, so fractions. We tend to forget a lot about fractions and which method goes with which one. So multiplying is always the most straightforward question, where you just times the top numbers together and then you multiply the bottom numbers together. So we just need to do 5 times 3, which is 15, and we need to do 8 times 4, which is 32. Check to see if there's anything that goes into both numbers so we can cancel it down, but in this case there doesn't seem to be any factors of both numbers, so we can leave it as 15 over 32 as our final answer. Part B, we are looking at subtracting. So adding and subtracting, we need to have, before we start the question, what's called a common denominator. And if you know that the denominator is the lower part of the fraction, it's the number on the bottom, we need a common one of these. Okay, so we've got to think, what do 3 and 4 both go into? What can we change 3 and 4 into to make them the same? Well, 12. 3 and 4 both go into 12, so that can be our common denominator. So we write the two fractions again, okay, and I'll put the minus sign in the middle. And I'm going to write my common denominator on the bottom, because that's what we try to achieve. We want the same number on the bottom, a common denominator. And then we've got to think, what have I multiplied the top and the bottom of this fraction by to get 12 on the bottom? Alright, so let's think, what have I multiplied 3 by to get 12 on the bottom? I must have times that by 4. So I've got to multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 4 to make sure it's an equivalent fraction. So 2 times 4 is going to give me 8 on the top. To make sure this is an equivalent fraction, what have I multiplied by on this side? Well, I've times 4 by 3 to get 12. So if I do the same to the top, it will keep it an equivalent fraction. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now I've got 8 twelfths minus 3 twelfths. I've got the same number on the bottom, so I can do that calculation now. How many twelfths will I end up with if I start with 8 and I take away 3 of them? I'd end up with 5 twelfths. And that would be my final answer. Okay, I hope that's been helpful.